All right. So someone sent us this really interesting link
Uh-huh.
about Gemini 2.0.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm completely in the dark here. Like
Wow.
I know we hear Gemini
Yeah.
and all this other stuff, but
Yeah.
2.0, like what even is that? So
Right.
I guess before we kind of get ahead of ourselves and dive into that,
Yeah.
we've heard a lot of buzz about 1.5 Pro, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what makes that one so special?
Well, with 1.5 Pro, I think one of the things that was really highlighted as a really significant improvement was its long context understanding.
Okay.
So think about it this way.
Yeah.
If you had a research paper in the past and you were using an AI model
Hmm.
to try to understand it, it might get to like the second page
Right.
and forget what was on the first page.
Yeah, yeah.
But with this long context understanding, it's able to keep all that information in mind.
So it can remember, basically.
It can remember, it can connect the dots between, the beginning of the paper to the end of the paper, which allows for much deeper
That's cool.
analysis and understanding.
So what does that actually mean for like research?
Well, it means that you can really start to analyze much more complex research questions.
Okay.
So for instance, if you're looking at
Yeah.
climate change and how it's affecting a particular region,
Okay.
you could have, hundreds of scientific papers,
Right.
government reports, potentially even satellite images.
Mhm.
And it can go through all of that, pull out the relevant information, and connect the dots in a way
Oh.
that just wasn't possible before.
So like I guess it's almost like having a research assistant,
Yeah.
but way, way faster. Right.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so that's long context understanding. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But is there more? I feel like there's more, right?
There is more.
Like can it analyze different types of information, not just text?
Yeah.
Like what about images? What about audio?
Exactly. And that's where this idea of multimodal capabilities comes in.
Okay.
So if you think about how we as humans understand the world, we use multiple senses.
Right.
We use sight, we use sound, we use touch.
Yeah.
Gemini is becoming more like that, where it can process different types of information simultaneously.
So it's not just like reading a paper. It could be looking at a picture and reading a paper at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, so it could look at the text, it can look at images, and potentially even audio as well.
So could you give us like an example of how that would actually work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how would that be useful in research?
Let's say you're a researcher who's doing an experiment,
Okay.
and you have your written observations, you have charts and graphs showing the data trends, and you've even maybe got audio recordings of the procedure.
Right, right.
Gemini 1.5 Pro can take all of that in at once
Wow.
and understand how each piece relates to the others.
So it can figure out the connections between
Yeah.
like completely different types of information sources.
Exactly. And that can revolutionize fields like medicine, where researchers are often dealing with, very complex data sets from different sources.
So this AI is like starting to sound less like a tool and more like a partner.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But can it actually think for itself?
Well, that gets to the, advancements in complex reasoning.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is, it's getting closer.
Oh, okay.
It's able to do things like analyze data, spot patterns,
Wow.
and even propose hypotheses.
So could you like give it a research problem and it could actually
You could,
come
yeah.
up with some ideas?
So you could say, hey, I'm trying to find evidence to support this new theory about dark matter.
Right.
Go and look through these data sets and see what you can find.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't just search for keywords.
Mhm.
It would actually try to analyze the data, identify patterns,
That's wow.
and maybe even come up with hypotheses.
So if 1.5 Pro is already doing all that,
Yeah.
what does that tell us about the potential of 2.0?
It's exciting, to think about
Yeah.
where this is all headed,
Yeah.
because we're seeing
Yeah.
pretty rapid advancements.
Yeah, and I know, sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything that's happening.
Yeah.
But we did
Yeah.
actually include some links to some videos.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if people want to actually see some of this in action,
Yeah.
the first one is called The Unbelievable Power of Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Oh, cool.
And the second one is
Oh.
Google just released Gemini Advanced powered by Gemini Ultra 1.0.
Oh.
And that one's really interesting too.
Yeah. So those are both on YouTube, right?
Yeah, they're both on YouTube. And we'll make sure to include the links in the show notes.
Excellent.
So now I guess this brings us back to the video that you sent, right? About 2.0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like, with all this advancement happening, it seems like maybe you're on the cutting edge of
Play. Right.
of AI evolution, right?
That's right.
So before you go and watch that video, just remember, the AI world is constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's moving really fast.
It is.
And
Gets faster all the time.
Gemini is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to unlock the next big breakthrough, right?
It's right.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.